Wednesday, August the 11th. Didn't do a fishing report last week. We were chilling out at Blue Springs Ranch in Bourbon, Missouri, floating on the Merrimack, canoeing, jet boating, just having a good time. If y'all want a great time on a float on the Merrimack River, you need to check out Blue Springs Ranch. It's got like 200 campsites and cabins. It's got the works over there, first class operation. But anyways, lake level hadn't changed much in about 3 or 4 weeks. It's still about 916 and a half. And I haven't been doing much generation. It seems like most of the generating they're doing is in the middle of the night. Now today I think they fired up one generator around noontime. And then as the afternoon went on, it started to increase the water flow. But for the most part, I'm really surprised how shallow the fish, majority of the fish still are. Normally when they shut the water off like they did 3 weeks ago, we don't have much current. And as hot as it's been, thermocline gets a lot deeper and the fishing gets a lot tougher. But if you look at the weights from the past 2 or 3 weekends, it's taken 19, 20 pounds to win just about, every tournament. Really impressive weights for the middle of the summer. And a lot of fish, I've been catching. The drop shot deal is kind of a backup if I can't catch them on a jig or a worm, or if I can't catch them shallower. And even the drop shot fish, for this time of year, I don't think they're that deep. I fished down by the dam yesterday, and most of the drop shot fish were probably about 25 to 30 foot deep. Some on the flat gravel points. Some of them were out over the ends of docks, and I fished a lot of deep trees, didn't do too much over the trees. Excuse me. It seemed like the dock bite was about the best, out in front of the deep docks and on some of the long gravel flat points. Now, I just kind of keep it pretty simple on the drop shot. I've been throwing 3 different worms, 2 of them which are chompers, a little plum, the other one's a brown purple laminated, and I like to throw this little Strike King Dream Shot, KVD Dream Shot in a morning dawn color. But the robo worms, a lot of the Yamamoto cuttails, there's a ton of different worms that'll work. I just have confidence in these, and they consistently catch fish for me. Now, another thing about the fish being fairly shallow, normally we don't catch a lot of smallmouth in middle of July into August. They seem to disappear until September, but it's kind of been, fairly steady. They're not ganged up any place, but especially early, you get the boat out in about 25, 30 foot, and even down lake, down by the dam, there's good stain in the water. Kimberling City's got good color, as does Baxter. But it seems like if you set that boat in about, 25 foot, fish some of these rock piles and conservation brush piles, main lake points, you can catch some good quality, smallmouth right now still. And up in the river arms, I've been catching mainly largemouth. Now today we're putting at Ants Creek, and we had to use the drop shot as our backup. I couldn't get the quality fish to bite like I had been, prior to going on to vacation there. But the way I've been catching those fish up there is a big worm, like an old monster, and a Obama bug, a plum, tequila green, also a Zoom Magnum trick worm, and been rigging it different ways. This one's on a 5 fish lures, ultimate shaky head. It's a 5/8 ounce where I can get it down there deep, keep it on the bottom, comes through the brush and the cover really good. Or you can Texas rig it on a 1/2 ounce. Usually if I'm going to do that, I'll use a 5/0 hook, 1/2 ounce tungsten weight, and fish it like that. Most of the fish I'm catching on that, I'm still setting the boat about the same depth if I was fishing a jig. Setting it about 25, 30 foot. A lot of times it's on bluff ends or along these main river flats where the channel comes up tight where it drops off. Some days you'll see the fish are up off the bottom, and what's been working for me when I see that is I like to throw a Scrounger head and a Swimbait. I'll throw a 1/2 ounce and a 3/4 ounce Scrounger, Just depends how deep the fish is suspended, and most of them haven't been suspended that deep. It's kind of been crazy. Even throughout the day, without a breath of wind, you'll see fish busting shad in the middle of the day. So I'll pick up a topwater bait. If I can't catch them on that, then I can usually see them on my live scope, how far they've gone down. I'll pick up a Swimbait or a Scrounger head and work it through them. A Swimbait that's been working good for me has been like a Zoom. It's a Zoom swimmer. But you know, a big bite will work. Kitech will work, but I've had good luck with the Zoom. You know, it's got a real soft tail. It doesn't take very much movement to get the tail wiggling. A couple different ways I'll fish it. If I can, you know, like I was saying, I'll figure out how fish to deep are, how deep the fish are, drop it down to that depth and just slow roll it. Other times I'll let it go right to the bottom and then I'll crank it up 5 or 6 cranks real fast and then just kill it, let it go back down. 5 or 6 cranks real fast, let it go back down. Or what you can do is, like you're fishing a jigging spoon, just kind of rip it up off the bottom, let it flutter back down. A lot of times when the fish are relating to the bottom, you can trigger a strike like that on the Swimbait. But also up in them same areas, and you know, even down lake around the dam, there's still a dock bite. Like I said, I've been fishing out in front of them with the drop shots. But you can get in the stalls and throw like a 3/4 ounce or a 7/8 ounce slab spoon, and also flutter spoons, like a Dixie Jet. This is a 5/8 or 3/4 ounce Dixie Jet. This James Watson Worldwide spoon. Depends on how deep the fish is suspended, what spoon I'll use. If they're real deep, 25 or 30 feet, I'll usually use a slab spoon. But if they're up there higher in that water column, especially if they've been chasing bait, I'll use a flutter spoon. It falls a lot slower. It stays in the strike zone a lot longer. And, you know, if you're not fishing down there real deep, it doesn't take that long to get it down to the right depth you need to be fishing it. But a lot of the jigs that are working for me, I'm throwing like a ledge rock lures, 11/16 ounce jig, a lot of green pumpkin purple. This one's got like it's got a Strike King Rage chunk on it, but any kind of twin tail like a Zoom Speed Craw, you know, always works good as a trailer. Another one's a Pig Sticker football jig. Another one I throw quite a little bit is a 5-fish lures ultimate cover jig and a 3/4 ounce. Depending on what I'm fishing, if I'm fishing open banks, you know, a football jig works great. But if I start getting around big broken rock and brush, I like the 5-fish lures ultimate cover jig or the ledge rock lures, the football jig. Seems to come through the brush and stuff a lot better. But, you know, like I say, there's a lot of fish in that 15 to 20 foot range still, and, you know, good quality fish. And there's a deep bite, which there will be all summer, you know. Normally, in another couple of weeks, you're going to start to see, we normally start to see a shallow bite, like a whopper plopper, maybe a spinnerbait. Usually the end of August, 1st of September, you start to see a migration of fish going into the shallows. And that might be really good because there's already a lot of fish that are fairly shallow right now. I say shallow, 15 to 20 foot. And to me, that's shallow for us this time of year with the water in the mid-80s. But, you know, the lake's fishing good all over the lake. And you can even still go up in squarebill, up in the backs of the creeks. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in a river arm. If you're going into the back of a creek right now, one of the key things I think to look for is a creek that's got fresh water coming into it. That way that real shallow water has got oxygen in it to sustain the bait and the fish back there. But normally what you can do is look at your mapping, zoom out, and see which ones have feeder creeks, you know, spring-fed water coming into them. Those are usually the better ones to key on. A couple things I want to talk about is, I've talked about it last couple weeks, but we got the fishing tackle swap meet at Extreme Outdoors, September 11th and 12th. If you need any information on this, go to Extreme Outdoors Facebook site, and it's like $50 if you want a table. But as far as coming in to buy, it's free. It's going to be 2 days. Concessions, hot dogs, drinks, chips are going to be provided by Extreme Outdoors. And I've already talked to quite a few guys that are going. I know there's going to be a lot of guys there with new trolling motors that, they bought boats and did upgrades and never even used them. There's a lot of guys have changed out to some of these newer trolling motors, so there's going to be used ones. There's going to be a lot of used electronics, props, and I think there's going to be a ton of fishing tackle. So I think there's going to be some really good deals to be had. And then also September 18th, I don't think there's anything else going on that weekend, but CTO, Cross Trail Outfitters, is having a benefit tournament for the kids. And unlike a lot of benefit tournaments, that don't pay back very much, this one's going to pay back 70%. It's going to be a guaranteed $1,000 for first place if it draws over 50 boats. And it'll be going out of Ahoy's there in Kimberling City. So check that out. It'll be a fun deal, and it's for a great cause to help raise money for the CTO organization. So till next week, good luck, good fishing.